Very good evening to all the early comers. Okay, the webinar is going to start about 2 to 3 minutes. So we were thinking maybe while waiting, we can just do a simple poll first to see. Maybe you can share with us whether you're attending the seminar for the first time. So can you help me with this? Wait, can you launch the poll? Just a simple question, just want to understand. Not that we will change the content. Okay, so we have now 20 plus, 30 plus. Quite a number of first timers. This time around, Huttons actually implemented a password just to make sure that the participants are a bit more qualified, so to speak. So let's see how many people turn up today. Okay, we have still majority, about 64% now, first timers. The rest are not the first time. Good. While waiting, maybe a couple more minutes. If you have any questions, just remember you can type this into the panelists chat group. Okay, you can post your questions there as we go along in the webinar, or you have consultants, especially from those from HLD, Huttons Lender Division. You can text them the questions as well. All right, but you can put them here, then we can answer and share maybe some of the things, especially in the Q&A session. All right. Hey, let's take a look at this and see, maybe this is the first interesting thing that we can share. Can you see the results now? So we have about 2/3, about there, 64% are first timers, and then the rest are second timers. Sorry, I have repeated ones. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's start. Good evening to everyone. My name is Willie from Huttons Lender Division, and welcome you back again to our quarterly landed market analysis webinar. All right, another consumer connect session that's conducted by Huttons. All right, so today the topic we're going to talk about is whether the market is slow. All right, and whether you can be faster, whether you're a buyer or seller or not. All right, quick introduction. Once again, my name is Willie from Huttons Lender Division, and with this division has started for about 10 years already. All right, and very importantly, I have with me today the management team, all right, who are the respective district ICs of the various districts, about 11 of them. Later I'll explain in a while why we choose to cover this 11. All right, I have Michael, Cindric, Will, Jason, Sean, and Justin. If you're invited by them or their teammates, you should have seen us. If you're active in the market now as a buyer seller, you should have seen us. All right, if not, feel free to contact us or your consultants. Okay, these are some of the accolades that we have accumulated over the past many years in terms of publicity as well as about exposure. So I hope this is one of the ways where you've gotten to know us. If not, continue to follow us. All right. This is a very important slide because it showcases most of our almost now 100 teammates from Huttons Lender Division or HLD. And if it is the first time you are following us, please understand that you can find us in all the major social media networks on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and of course our website as well. All right. Screenshot this if you don't have. If not, you can find this from any of our consultants. Okay. So for the past many years, I think since about 4 years ago, we've started to actually bring forward our analysis to our consumers by launching this via a webinar format, first via reports and then via webinar, all right, especially after the pandemic. So this has become, I think, quite a highly anticipated webinar or market analysis event, okay, and not just in Huttons, but the entire lender market in Singapore, okay. So all this, by the way, a lot of them have the videos have been uploaded to YouTube, so they were also referred to as well as point of reference, and we thank you and all the comments that have given to us so far. Okay, this is the last one that we did for Q2. This is on the second week of July. So if I missed this, again, this is one of the latest one that's been uploaded to YouTube. So you can scan the code here and watch out what are the highlights, major highlights of the quarter. Okay. All right, so before we go straight in, perhaps we can also start to understand among the participants today, audience, are you mainly thinking of buying or selling a landed property in the near future? So maybe can we launch this poll? Let's have a quick understanding. Are you thinking of buying or selling your property now? Zui, thank you. Just give us a minute. I think we have some problems launching it. Okay, hold on now. Pardon me. Okay, there you go. Let's see whether there are more buyers or sellers. As we represent both parties in the market, I think it's very interesting. And many times we are caught in the middle when it comes to market movements and how that affects you moving forward. All right. And but with that, in that unique position, we are also fortunate or blessed enough to understand, I think, some of the concerns, insights from both parties, whether you're a seller or buyer. I think one thing to take note on this point is that both my team and I believe that in every transaction, it's not about a win-lose situation, right? It's always sometimes, many times actually, among the many transactions, if not most, it is really possible to achieve a win-win kind of resolution, all right? Okay, today is quite interesting. I think we have not asked this question for a while. Maybe you can make a guess. I will show the answers now. Do you think there are more sellers or buyers? Okay, usually it's kind of skewed towards the buyers, but today we have quite a good mix. Almost 60% are right, buyers, and then we have 40% who are thinking of selling your house. Is it because the topic interests buyers more, or the sellers are less concerned? This we will find out in a while, all right? Okay, so let's move on. This will be the sequence and agenda for today, right? We will all start with a total overview of the Singapore landed market first. I think it's important for us to understand, as niche market as it is, I think there's so many ways we can dissect it, all right, and understand it from different perspectives. Second part, highly always anticipated, especially when you have a specific district or region in mind. We're going to split this up into the various regions, and that's where the district ICs here will come in to share their insights and highlights for their respective areas. All right. And last but not least, we'll have a Q&A. Again, let's not wait till the last part to put in your questions so that we can take the time to reply all of you as well. Right. Disclaimer, again, first, most important is the numbers actually keeps moving, or they're still adjusted as we speak. So we always put a deadline, and this will be 10th of October, but last Friday. All right. From then till now, there's still some late transactions that are put in, but by and large, I think as of this date, the numbers are more or less settled. Okay. So what we share, I think endeavor to share as accurately as possible. Just want to make sure that please do not hold us or any Huttons agents responsible if any decisions were made as a result of that. All right. As much as we want to help. Okay. All right. So market is slow. Do you realize I put a question mark here? Is it really slow? Why do we say it's slow? And is that the word being heard in the market right now by both agents, particularly sellers to a certain extent, because it's now taking longer, I think, for transactions for houses to move compared to maybe 2 to 3 years ago. Is that really true? I would like, let me see whether I have some numbers to show. Okay, the next one. Yeah, so let's start with this very simple thing first. Okay, do you think the market is slow? Because this would, I think, change the trajectory of the entire conversation. No, I'm joking. Just give me a minute. Let me just share this. Okay, this will be very interesting because we're very curious ourselves. All right, because this sentiments are collected from our own market experience on the ground from our teammates and our experience of buying and selling. Do you think it's slower than usual, or do you think it's the norm, or do you think it's quite fast? Okay, the results are quite astoundingly different. I hope those who responded, no, we did say that they're actually quite a good mix, right? Buyers and sellers. Okay, let's take a look. So 80% of you think that the market is slow. Okay, whereas about only 20% of you think that the market is not slow for whatever reasons it is. All right, so the next few slides we're going to review to you. Now, firstly, I think you've seen this. This is as recent as just last week, where I think Business Times have reported that private property prices have dropped a slip, all right, for 1.1%, Very interestingly, those that's highlighted, for the first time, there's two sets of data. Okay, first one is Ave Price Index, which is based on, it's an index that's based on 100, all right? So they measure this median price. And a reported UR for landed is actually a minus 3.8% drop, okay, in value. Interestingly, in the same report, I frankly haven't seen conflicting numbers or results within the same report, highlighted in orange here, all right? Based on URA caveat, the median PSF, okay, median PSF has actually increased by 0.6%. So we mentioned this before in the previous seminars, is that sometimes our URA price index is very difficult for consumers, right, for us to actually absorb and understand this and apply this to the house that you're going to sell, right? What does 234.5 means to my house in a sense? And they also use a median, by the way, a price index, whereas caveated wise might be slightly better because it uses PSF, a number that we're more familiar with, right? However, I think first thing we need to understand is how do you define slope? If you talk about, let's say, price value wise, right, is the methodology. I think HLD have been using, and together with all our clients as well, have been using average transacted PSF, all right, source coming from URA and SRX for the past many years, because that makes it easier for us to understand and apply, whether you're buying, selling, and then using this as a basis for comparison for what has been transacted and what are your competitors, all right? So I think that's the most important thing. If you're following us for the first time, don't worry, this will be where we're going to continue our discussion and analysis, and you'll understand now will be a lot easier, because the median price index, there's no way for us to break this down, okay, for instance, or even the median price as well. And to a lot of people, I think, especially when there are districts where there are outliers, putting the middle one, if let's say there are, 50 transactions, you take the 25th or 24th transaction, may not be indicative, all right? So average will be, we feel, a lot easier to understand and fairer as well. Okay, so first question, let's understand this is a methodology firstly, all right? If you understand this, now the next chart, this is a summary of 2024 Q3 transaction, both volume and value, okay? So if you're looking at this chart for the first time, the bars that you see, the colored ones, actually represent volume, all right? So I'm going to bring your attention down to here. You can see it's 4692. Sorry, on the last quarter, 469 last quarter. This quarter, 400 houses were sold, all right? This is a drop of 15%, right? Versus last quarter, compared to last year, is actually about 6% increase. Still not so bad. Whatever people are saying now, I think there's a lot of speculations thinking that the 7 month, for example, finally took effect this year. Because since after COVID, I think due to a shortage of supply and there's an increasing volume of activities throughout, basically after June, July. But this year we really felt a bit of a freeze, so to speak, in August. All right. Whereas for value, you can see that it's a marginal drop, frankly, minus 1%, 0.9 is considered quite stable. But I think it's more the indication of that, right? Indication of that. But still, it's still hovering above 1,009 per square feet. Compared to the past many quarters, can you see, with the exception of Q3 last year and Q2 and last quarter, this is still among the highest, right? This is still among the highest. So I wouldn't consider this as a drop or a big drop per se by us and the entire team, right? And volume might be a bit of concern, minus 15%. But of course, this is just one quarter. If you look at certain seasonalities, Q3, and you look at like 2022, Q3 is usually slower, all right? Last year was a bit of a difference. There was a big spike, all right? But if you look at previous years, usually Q3 might be slower than Q2. So again, we are not that bothered by it, because at 400 units is still considered quite respectable. But now, what if you're going to look at basically the first 9 months of the year versus last 9 months? Would that be a better indication? Okay, sorry, let me just... Okay, so if you look at basically just Q3, yes, market is slower in both transaction price and volume, right? And for the first time since 2000, and when I say first time means both volume and value have dropped, right? If you look at this in previous quarters, you always have either a double increase or you have some where it is the volume drop or the price increase, etc. Okay, so this is the first time when both. Is it a bit of a concern for some, for realtors, for those in the landed market? Yes, to a certain extent. But the next chart will show you, if you compare the first 9 months of last year versus this year. All right. Firstly, value is still increasing, all right, by 2.2%. If you follow us from the beginning of the year, this is very in line with our expectation. It's going to be a slower growth, about 2 to 3% this year. And that first 9 months is a 2.2%. All right, he has crossed 1,009 for the first time, and it is now still the highest transacted price PSF, right, for the last in the history of landed properties at 1,009. Volume is still very respectable. We already crossed 1,000 units for the first 9 months of this year, and it's a plus almost 20%, right, at 19%. So do you think the market is too slow? Right, answer is quite a clear no, right, for the first 9 months of the year. So both prices have grown, and this is continuing the trend in the last 3 years. So at this point of time, why are people feeling this slowdown? All right, there's a few reasons. One is that the number of supply has actually increased. Number of houses put in the market have increased. So in terms of competition-wise, because I think a lot of sellers are feeling that this is the peak of the market, I think it's time to exit for whether they want to upsize or a downside, so to speak, right? So you see a lot more houses being put up on the market, but the number of buyers I can see have not actually reduced. And also, we're also feeling, if you're asking these sentiments among agents as well, because we also have facing or seeing a lot more agents entering the market this year. So they might feel that because of growing competition, things are getting slower. But I hope this last chart in the fall that shows the last 9 months is showing you otherwise. Okay. So next question is, with this, if you are, especially just now, we what, 80%, 79% say that feel that the market is slower, thankfully. If you all answer otherwise, I think this will make this entire topic a bit redundant, right? So if you feel that it is slower, how are you, whether you are buying or selling, affected? Okay, whether you're buying, when we say slowing down, I think this is not affecting just the sellers who's finding that it takes a longer time now, less inquiries compared to previously, so to speak. Or even if you're buying, you find that it's a lot more difficult to find your ideal house. So how are you affected? The first clue that I want to give you is that this niche market is very, very fragmented. All right, in the way that it's not just in geographical areas, later we'll show you, but in many ways, even though this is just 5% of the entire market, the landed segment is a lot more complex than what it is. Right, one clue is already that every house is different. But beyond that, in the next few slides, I'm going to show you how does this a plus 22%, 2.2%, how does it differ across different segments, and how does it affect you, especially when the segment in question is actually bucking the trend that we saw earlier. All right. So first way that we're going to look at is basically in terms of price point. A lot of you might be looking at, you can see here, we group them easily between just into 3 big groups first, below 5 million, 5 to 10, and above $10 million, right? So you can see now the bulk of course the transactions, unsurprisingly, is 64% is below 5 million. What is interesting is this used to be, last quarter was 61%. So now a higher proportion of people are actually buying less than $5 million property. All right, a very familiar concept will come to mind, which is about affordability, right? A lot of consumers now, whatever you're buying, whether it's cars, high-end products, or even daily necessities, I think affordability is increasing concern, and you can see that being reflected also in the landed market trend as well, right? $5 to $10 million have dropped from 30 to 29%, and above $10 million, if you have now a seller marketing anything above $10 million, you realize that market is really getting slower in terms of percentage. Okay, so based on this tree, so I'm going to show you this chart. On the left shows the price range below 3 million all the way to above $50 million. All right, so you have quarter two here. This is the split. You can see that 21, 28. Can you see between $3 to $5 million? This is consistently, this is the most popular price range for landed properties, is still about 50% or more. What is interesting is the PSF here. Again, to debunk a lot of popular myth, is that a lot of people feel that the higher price it is, the PSF will be lower. You can see across the board, there's no consistent trend or obvious trend, right? For instance, the below 3 million, obviously later we'll see this is mainly the 99-year ones. Obviously, PSF is lower, but from 3 million onwards, you can see it doesn't show that the PSF decreases as the value goes up. So even as high as the 15 to 20 million mark, PSF transacted is still 2005, right? Which is higher than the amount. Okay. Now, the next number that we can see is the average PSF. What has actually changed in the last 3 months? This is a bit more mixed in terms of the effect. Of course, this is dependent on the type of houses that are being sold. Later, we'll show you some. but there is no clear trend here. For instance, the 20 to 50 million, you see a drop in PSF, all right, but the volume has gone up, right? Volume has gone up. And then on the other part of the scale, you have the 15 to 20 million, sorry, maybe 6 to 8 million, sorry, posting the highest growth in PSF, right? But conversely, on the other side, you see that the volume has actually dropped. Is there an inverse relationship, right? Where if the price is higher, the volume becomes lower, or vice versa. Okay. Now, three price groups are interesting. Just now we saw the 6 to 8, saw the 15. The other one is actually $3 to $4 million because the rest have all dropped in terms of PSF, right? Following the minus 0.9. So these three are the one that's pulling up the entire price range. So regardless of, depending on which price range you're looking at now, I think this will be the first, I think, useful reflection of the market that you may want to take into consideration. Okay. For instance, I'm now looking at the $6 to $8 million. Actually, PSF has gone up significantly. So do not be surprised if whatever houses you're searching for or evaluating in terms of what has been transacted, it has gone up significantly. Okay. So price range, as I mentioned, these three groups are the ones that recorded higher. The rest have all declined. Okay. Next will be a very popular, easiest way to segment, which is by terrace, which is by house types, terrace versus semi-D versus detached. Okay, so again, this is the mix in terms of the volume proportion of weightage. So terrace, just now we saw volume has gone down, so quite expectedly because of the price range of most terraces. Terrace has now grown to occupy now 60% of all transactions, right? Semi-D has also gone up. Detached is the one that has come down, right, over the last 3 months. And later you'll see this is reflected in almost every district. In fact, there are some districts that have no detached transactions at all in this quarter, right? Terraces continue to be as grown. Okay, so reflecting this in terms of a graph, in terms of PSF wise, this is volume. Detached has dropped by 37% and semi-D terrace by 12%. In terms of value wise, detached has dropped as well. Terrace also has dropped. The only house type or class that has actually outperformed the rest is semi-D, right? Although at 1.3%, not very high, we're still waiting for the day where it crosses 1,008, like what it did in 2003, 1 year ago, right? Quarter three. The rest, we still see terraces very healthy, still above 2,000 per square feet, and detached as at 1,007. One thing to know about detached because of the sheer small in terms of volume. So fluctuations can be a bit greater because of the period that we get what you call this, the data from, all right, compared to terraces and semi-Ds as higher volume. Okay, so house types we have seen semi-D increasing and then terraces and detached both decline. But in terms of volume, all three house types have suffered from double-digit decline in volume. Now, next will be freehold versus 99. Now, this is quite interesting because our team just transacted a few 99. And it is common for us to feel that maybe 99 is a very small proportion or insignificant proportion of the entire landed market. This may surprise some of you, all right? Actually, when we say small, 99-year landed properties actually account for about 1/5. And this quarter or last quarter actually has crossed 20%, all right? It's actually 22%, whereas freehold have actually dropped in terms of weightage. Okay, so 22%, one of the highest so far. Okay, again, is this due to affordability? Later we will get to see some of these insights. All right, but in terms of price, so freehold, since it occupies more than 80%, so this is a bit more reflective of the general trend. Nothing to be alarmed about. -20, -0.3. Now leasehold, can you see now? We've been seeing a lot of red so far for the first time. We are seeing a lot of positive, right? So in terms of 99 leasehold, the volume has gone up by almost 10%, 9% to be exact, and then value has increased by 5.9%, right? Though this is not the highest, we have had a Q1 this year crossing 1,006 because of certain new launches, which we have shared. But here, this is a bit more balanced now, and soon we're going to see 99-year leasehold properties crossing 1,005 per square feet, right? If the trend continues. Okay, right, so just a summary of the tenure. Another one will be new versus resale, right? New houses in landed, unlike, let's say, condos, but new launches or new condo launches per se, it occupies a much more smaller percentage because majority of the landed market is actually covered or accounted for by resale. It's about 96% you can see, and new houses is only 5 to 4%, right? Much smaller than 99 years. So you can already see the next few slides anticipate that the resale market, okay, this is very reflective of the overall. This contributes mainly to the overall landed market trends, okay? Minus 1% versus 0.9, if you remember, right? And minus 19. And then whereas for new houses, now this quarter, it has actually shown a growth. You notice there's a bigger fluctuation because it depends on what's being launched, right? And to today, we still are enjoying or suffering, can I say, from the aftermath of this Poland collection, because it's still the largest new launch project, okay? Or because a lot of landed launches are single units. This one is a multiple units. So that is actually brought down. But if you take that away, which is a 99-year launch, a lot of the new launches now are 2,005, if not above $3,000 per square feet. All right. So this 2233 is due to mainly lack of a smaller number of this. So normal new launch or freehold launch, and then a higher percentage of that. All right. Volume is increasing now to more than 20 units, 16%. Okay. Right, these are useful for those who are looking for new ones. Again, the breakdown, even for the new houses, there are some numbers there. If you need some clarification on that, you can come to me or my teammates. Now, next one is interesting, landed versus strata. Again, another niche versus within niche, strata landed. Strata landed has become more and more inquiries are coming through, right, to our team. With, let's say, you have a budget of 3.2, 3.5, or even up to $4 million. You find that pure landed properties are increasing out of reach and are now considering strata landed. So how did they perform? Right, compared to new houses, this is almost 3 times. This is about 15%, but compared to 99-year ones, slightly less. Right, we're talking about 15% of the total market. Again, not a small number, or should I say, not as small as what people think. So for every 100 houses sold, actually 15% are strata. Okay. So volume, the weightage is still about there, but the value is following the market trend, in fact, slightly worsened. But you look at absolute difference is not a lot, from 973 to $956 per square feet. Volume has increased slightly, right, by about 10% or 9%, okay, showing the relative resilience of this very niche segment. Okay. Now, next, we have this interesting topic called a core versus non-core districts. Again, if you're following us for the first time, we group the landed market to make it easier for us to understand, all right, which are the core districts. The core districts are those that occupy, these are the 11 districts that in total make up about 84%, all right, 84% of the total market's transactions, whereas the non-core is about 16%. These coincidentally or strategically, of course, are the districts that HLD, all right, Huttons Landed Division, are focusing on at this point of time. All right. So if you look at this, so these are the numbers. Let's first take a look at volume, right? Volume, a lot of numbers here, but if I can bring your attention down to here, all right, core versus non-core. Again, core is about 85%, 84%. Volume has dropped by 14%. All right. So the core districts is 14, and then non-core, they've actually dropped by more, minus 20%. All right. This is a bit of a reversal versus the last month where non-core, I think we find more people going to non-core districts, maybe due to their relative affordability. This year is a bit back to normal. In fact, core districts is pulling numbers up. All right. One interesting to take note of is almost all districts. Now let's take a look at closer at the districts. All right. Almost red everywhere. All right. Some are more surprising, like District 10, minus 44%. Later, we will explain and share with you. This is mainly caused by drop in semi-Ds, for instance. Okay. And then on the other spectrum, you have, let me see whether I can highlight, pardon me. Okay, sorry. Again, for minus 44, a lot of double-digit drop. And then you have District 21 and District 13. If you all can see my cursor, right? These two are bucking the trend with not just a double-digit growth, but a very strong growth. But of course, you can say the numbers are smaller. But what are some of the reasons that more buyers are going to 21 and District 13? Later, Cindric and Jason will share with you, right? Quite interesting, especially when certain districts has a good mix of other landed types, like, for example, GCBs or 99-year houses, all right? So in terms of region, we also grew them by the regions, Central, West, East region. So Central, because of District 10, is dragged down. East is pretty strong, minus 5. And your West region posting the only region that posts a growth in terms of volume. Okay. So depending on where you're selling your house or buying your house, especially for sellers, if you are now in any districts in the last quarter, it is okay or it's normal for you to feel a slightly slower movement, right? Unless if you're in 21 and 13, maybe you should start to ask your agents, how can things improve better? Okay, let's now take a look at value. Okay, value, the same table, right, across the many districts and quarter. So here is where things get to be a lot more interesting because the results are not as clear as value, all right? So you can see that we have the results range from minus 15%, District 21, the same district that posted one of the highest growth, okay? Again, this is quite normal when your value goes down, then maybe this will stimulate more transaction growth as well, all right? On the other spectrum, you have the very strong growth in, for example, District 14. Later, Jason will share with you quite a number of houses sold. Higher proportion of houses sold in that district are actually newer houses. Okay, newer houses compared to the older houses in the previous quarter. Okay, but by and large, generally, if it's a single digit for 3 months worth of data, nothing to worry about for too much, except for you to just understand the trend, especially when it's relative to other districts. All right. So among them, what is interesting, you can see, yeah, just I mentioned 21, 14 as well. And if you look at this column, we started to see 2 new districts that enter the $2,000 per square feet. All right, we make a guess in the beginning of the year, whereas that more districts will join the 2,000 PSF club. So you have District 20 join this for the first time, right, in history. 13 did that almost 1 year ago in Q4 for the first time. Now it's back again, sorry, for this year, first time in this year, crossing $2,000 per square feet. So we start to, for buyers looking out there and you start to see this 2,000, it's time for us to kind of get used to, all right? Same thing for condo buyers as well. New launches, people get used to it. Now we have $2,005 for $99, sorry, $2,005 per square feet for 99-year launches, even in OCR as well, all right, for example. So we will have to start to accept this fact as prices continue to rise. Okay, this summary is very interesting because we compare basically core districts. If I'm going to group the 11 districts up, it's a minus 0.7% versus total Singapore. How about non-core? Okay, I don't know how many of the participants here are interested in non-core districts, but we've also prepared a chart as well, right? Do bear in mind that because of the sheer much lower in terms of volume, the fluctuations can be a lot higher. And some months you can see there's even no transactions as well, all right? So nothing to highlight on the right side here, but what we'd like to show is that collectively, the non-core districts, if you just now remember, the volume dropped more compared to core, but in terms of value, right, from 1,006 now it's dropped to below $1,006 per square feet. It's quite a significant difference. You can see it's almost like $2,000 per square feet if you go to the core area and non-core for the more affordable districts, right? So this is the next summary. Okay, decline more in both volume and value than the core districts. Right, the last way that we can segment the market further is to actually not just look at per square feet, but is to look at quantum, okay, but quantum, which is related to the first slide that we showed. So besides PSF, a lot of buyers, they are concerned, all right, about what's the absolute value that they need to pay. All right, what's the average price? Same for sellers as well. For them, certain things, no, if I bought it at, I don't know, 6 million, now I need to get it at $9 million because the next house I'm going to buy is going to be 10 or $12 million. All right. So this chart, I don't think you will ever see this anywhere by any analyst. All right, is to compare the average transacted price. Again, many numbers here. I'm going to bring your attention down to the bottom first, make this easier to understand. So total Singapore, what this means, can you see first here, this quarter? So last quarter, the average transacted price of a landed property in Singapore is about 5.5 million. All right. So average size is about 3,000 square feet, 2,994. What has not changed, all right, in this quarter is this both indices, which is still about 5.5 million. And then size has gone up a bit, right, to about 3,000. So this is the average size and the average price. So if you're in this market now, it's very common after you average out everything, all right? Now, let's take a look then at the core versus the non-core. So core districts, however, all right, the price is slightly higher. You see 5.5 here, this is 5.7, okay, 5.78 versus last quarter is quite flat, Okay, it's quite flat. But in terms of size, from 3,007 square feet, buyers in these districts are buying slightly larger, about 3,050 now. This is a 2% increase. Okay. Whereas for the non-core, it's the reverse in both index. So non-core districts average price is 4.3. Now it's at $4 million. All right. All these districts combined. So you will see average price have decreased, and also the average size as well. So there are people, they are buying smaller and expectedly at lower prices. Okay. So of course, there are some other numbers here. I'll leave the chart here, or you can screenshot this. All right. There are some very interesting observations for certain districts, especially those that has a different. So if they are consistent, like for example, price and size goes up, generally it's okay if they are same direction. All right. The only one that's a bit different, for example, District 16, you see that the average price have gone down, but the average size has gone up. Can you see here? All right, -4 and 6. So if you're on the same color or same trend, should not be a big of an issue. D28 is quite interesting as well. All right, price have gone up, but the size have come down. Other than that, the rest, not much of a cause for concern because they're reflected by the PSF already. All right, do you find this useful so far? And where do you stand, right, in terms of whether you're buying or selling now? Does that affect? For example, let me take a look for you. Let's say take a look at District 28. Your budget, if it's still around 4.3, 4.5, you're quite safe because it's still within, I think, the average price that's being transacted, for instance. Okay. But you may have to be prepared to fork out more if this trend continues in terms of absolute value, not in terms of PSF. Okay. So for this, you have it's generally stable, except that non-core district houses sold are getting smaller and at lower quantum. Okay, so this summarizes, I think, some of the major highlights on how the entire landed market can be analyzed further. So it's not so straightforward. I say, okay, market is slow, everything is slow, for example. Although, yes, on this chart, I still see more negative, so to speak. But I think it's important as you are entering the market with very specific needs in mind, it's good to have a more focused view on what are the price movements, right? So after answering these questions, right, how are you affected? The next question is, how can you, either as a buyer or seller, be faster, especially as a seller, when the volume is going down now for the last quarter, not knowing what last quarter of the year, that means quarter 4 will do, how can you speed up in terms of the sale? And how do you, buyer, can also speed up in terms of your purchase making decisions so that you don't lose out, especially on your desired unit that you want to buy. Okay, so with this, I will hold this until the end of the webinar, because what's important now is for you to first understand how the various districts perform, okay, in terms of regions and districts. So before we go into that, let's also do a quick poll among the many participants here. Which of these districts are you more interested in, right? This is a very polarizing question. So let me see. Hold on. Okay, so let me launch this. Oh, can you all see? No, hold on. Pardon me, there is something. Stop sharing. I believe this is the one. Okay, good. Let's do this very simple poll. My district ICs here are looking at the numbers very clearly, see which one has the most number of participants or interested parties so far, right? So from district 10, 11, we link them up together because usually most of our buyers are indifferent to either. Okay, now almost every district has an entry except 14. Okay, we give a few more seconds. Okay, are you all keen to know which is the most popular one? We should allocate the amount of time later, allocated to the district ICs based on this. Okay, we're joking here. Okay, let's take a look. All right, these are the results. Most popular, maybe it's unfair advantage because it's 10, 11, two districts combined together. That's at 23%. Next up is District 15, all right, 18%. What is the next one? District 19, all right, 13%. If you look at just now the volume of transactions, these are the top three, right? Almost quite consistently every quarter analysis that go. District 20 is at 10%, District 20 is at 10%. All right, that's good. Is that interesting for you? Certainly is for us. Oh, can you all see the results? Sorry, can you all see? You can. I share it, right? Okay. Hold on, we just go back. All right, so now where we're using the 10%, right? For the next district. Let's go to the district analysis by regions. All right, so this is a chart that this is how we organize the various districts within the core area. So northeast, east, central, and west, self-explanatory. And again, I'm going to introduce my district ICs here again. So the first person to come out to share the insights will be Sean, who is in charge of district 19, 20, and 28. So one by one, you get to hear from them. Sean, please, for district 19.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, so fast now it's already quarter 3, and I think it's quite heartwarming that every quarter we get to see a very, very good pool of y'all that have been consistently attending the webinars. I think what our main objective is also to have a more data-driven approach, because numbers just tell one side of the story, but to really go deeper for both buyers and sellers to make an informed decision, a lot more can be kind of like dissected. So in line with the newer scope of how we do our webinars, so this will be kind of the newer format if you're not already familiar with it, right? So starting off will be kind of like how we dissect the districts. This is, again, I think same for the other districts, is to make sense of numbers, right? So usually we try to lump together as close as possible all the kinds of similar estates within a district itself. Okay, certain areas, the lesser transacted areas, usually, this will be lumped together into others. We classify them under others, right? So for District 19, I think this is usually the pulse of the entire market, given the sheer number of volume in District 19, as well as the transactions, all right? So within District 19, again, those of you all familiar, the long rivalry between Serangoon Gardens and Kovan has never been more intensive, right? Why we say that is that usually Serangoon Gardens takes the crown, but I think for 2 consecutive quarters, there's actually more transactions in Kovan. This quarter as well, just shy of 1, all right? So again, I think it's oftentimes we see a lot of spillovers from, let's say, buyers who are looking towards Serangoon Gardens in terms of the lifestyle, the accessibility, as opposed to Kovan, where you actually have majority of the areas, having larger built up areas, because you can go to 3.5 stories, you're near to Huttons more, etc., etc. Right? It's always about, in terms of your decision making, how to make the most informed choice, right? So again, we split it into 5 key segments, all right? So at a glance, to delve deeper later, we will showcase a glimpse of some of the deeper analysis that we have on a district basis. Those will help you more in terms of if you're looking to sell, how to position, what are the competition, and ultimately is that how fast can you sell? All right. Of course, usually sellers always say they are not in a hurry, but then to each their own. Okay. So at a glance, first and foremost, District 19. So again, in line with majority of the districts for quarter 3, we have seen a double-digit drop in terms of transactions. So again, like I said, these are just summarized numbers, but if you want to go deeper into it, so for example, District 19 itself, we have actually, in terms of the 3 different types of house classifications, right? Despite that we have this kind of double-digit drop, terraces actually quarter on quarter, we still have the same number of transactions, right? What has really tanked is the number of transactions for semi-Ds, and for the first time in a very long time, we have 0 detached transactions. Now, again, a lot of things, a lot of factors will come into play when determining, how fast the house can be sold, right? So all this is just the key figures taking into consideration. These are all the average values across all the different types of houses within the district. Okay, so in line with the rest as well, the average PSF has kind of increased. And usually we see a correlation between the quantum versus PSF, all right, to really understand more. It's like easily at the back of our minds, there's more than 40 unique selling points for each individual house. Number of stories, condition, lift, amenities, so on and so forth, even the facing, and increasingly now, number of parking lots. Everyone is really, I think 9 out of 10 is asking, oh, do we have EV chargers, so on and so forth. So all this plays a part in terms of, affecting the final transacted value, right? So of course, section B, for those who are looking to buy versus to sell, I think what is really reversed this round is that despite the average overall has double-digit drops, terraces, in fact, have seen an increase in terms of the average price, all right? So to dwell deeper, all right, in fact, we've seen that for this quarter, there's actually more corner terraces transacted. And in fact, one of them is holding the helm for the highest transacted quantum. Bear in mind, this is just a corner terrace. So this will definitely kind of transpose itself into the values on the screen. Okay, so for average PSF as well, generally for terraces, we see that on the whole, despite the number of transactions still remaining pretty healthy, a lot of terraces that are transacted, all right, we do have a deeper analysis whereby we want to further understand what is brand new versus what is original and everything in between, right? For example, there's many of the transactions in this quarter that are 2 stories, right? It's like a dilemma. Most of the times, a lot of the buyers, they come in with the jargon that should I rebuild, should I do an A&A, or should I just renovate to move in, right? All this comes into play when, this will be factors that will affect your decision making, okay? For semi-D itself, we saw a huge drop, in fact, for the average price. But you can see, again, this very interesting correlation between the quantum versus the PSF mechanics. Going deeper into semi-Ds, there's actually more semi-Ds that are transacted with smaller land sizes, right? Despite the figures for semi-Ds compared to last quarter's 25 number of transactions, now there's 16. And more than half actually are below 3,000 square feet. So obviously with a lower quantum base, generally we see a higher PSF. This is really about the pyramid of affordability, and detached, 0, right? So going to part C, this is where we try to rank. So earlier I was mentioning about the highest. Now we review to you the lowest. So always take it with a pinch of salt. I think most of the consumers, they will be quite curious. Curiosity is a good thing, but oftentimes you have to really peel the layers to further understand. Example, over here on the screen with the lowest PSF at just slightly above 1,000 PSF, it may seem like a very lucrative, very good buy, right? But once you understand the dynamics, the kind of condition of the house, this is a triangular shaped land. Right? So there obviously will be certain redundancies when it comes to your effective built up. Of course, comparing this to, let's say, even the one on the left at the lowest quantum, just slightly above 3 million, all this will kind of factor into play because, again, the land size is going to be different. So it's really about the pyramid of affordability. So conversely, just now I was mentioning for the corner terrace. So just for corner terrace, we are already shy of 2,000 PSF for something that is really a move-in condition, despite the fact that this may not be, it's in relative terms, may not be the best locale in terms of the entire surrounding gardens, but yet it has many unique qualities that, to be able to bump up their price to something that is even on par, if not surpassing some of the semi-Ds. So notably, the land size is above 3,000, all right, as compared to the one on the right, another really move-in brand new condition house. But look at the land size, it's just 2,161. Okay, so for PSF wise, also it's transcending 2007. So you can see the kind of real dynamics going on. Okay, and for the first time, we are going to showcase, especially for District 19, when there's actually quite a number of 99 leasehold transactions. So what really draws buyers towards 99? It's really about the affordability, okay? So despite the kind of expiration date, 99 is, a lot of them, they still have a long way to go, more than 50 over years, but generally they offer a lot of value subjectively. So a lot of them, they have almost fully maximized in terms of the number of stories. And generally we see at least 5 to 6 bedrooms, of course, at varying conditions. So these are oftentimes, alternatives, especially recently we get a lot of inquiries for buyers looking for, with a budget of about 3 million. So a lot of times the opportunity cost, everyone thinks that Freehold or 999 will retain the value better. But that being said, looking at the charts, 99 still stands pretty strong, especially if you're looking for something that is already kind of fully maximized, where most of the older houses, in fact, in most districts, they still need to pump in a lot in terms of to rebuild A&A or recon. Conversely, the highest PSF, some of them, they can even rival that of the Freehold or 999. So another one would be at this location-wise, 99 leasehold tend to have slightly better positioning, especially in the Serangoon Gardens area. Chuan Place is just a shy walk from the hawker center, food center. Serangoon Garden Close as well. These are more modern facade, relatively newer in the sense, and still with good maintenance and everything. You still can maintain as a very attractive alternative, right? Anything that is kind of like in the 3 million mark is already of yesteryears. This will be where the 99 really starts to shine in this price bracket. Okay, and going on to D, these are some of the more interesting fundamentals that we have noticed. So for District 19, as we look through the time lens, you can see that despite everything that's been going on, increasingly is being able to hold up pretty well. So we have the three house types, an average PSF in terms of, taking into account all the seasonalities, we still see a very steady and what we like to coin as an irreversible upward trends. Of course, in between, there will be seasonalities, but generally speaking, I think we deal with all the mechanics, macro and microeconomic situations, the kind of policies that we have been encountering. This seems to be on the upward trend, right? And definitely in terms of the quantum, this will be for semi-Ds, or this will be very subjective, like I mentioned, depending on that seasonality, how many houses are transacted at what size. Baseline is really about affordability, but what is really interesting to note is that there is kind of a bridge in terms of the gap between terraces and semi-Ds, especially for District 19, more so because most of the semi-Ds, the newer semi-Ds, are originally terraces. And those who are familiar with the area would know that a lot of the terraces, the land size will be slightly above 2,000 plus, is on par with a semi-D, and a lot of them actually have been converted into first corner terraces and then subsequently semi-Ds. And this is just a snippet into one of many of our detailed slides. Do feel free to reach out to any of the consultants to get a deeper understanding. I mean, curiosity would be good to actually determine how well positioned and what kind of house types and whether or not it's the right time to buy or sell. So it's really about your immediate and midterm needs as opposed to long-term. Long-term, definitely we project that it's going to be an upward trend generally, but it's more so about when do you enter the market. All right, and these are some of the more popular listings that our team is currently marketing. So these are houses that have kind of a unique kind of stance, right? It's those that have been what we call in the classical era, in a sense, right? Paya Place, these are the pitch roof style. Kang Choo Bin is very unique in a sense. This is one stretch that is already a 2.5. Some of them have been upgraded per se by the current owners to a 3 stories. And it offers a lot of value in a sense because the structure already has a kind of latency to really withhold or provide for most family needs. Okay, similarly for the semi-D and detached, we see actually a lot of brand new that have been sold in the last 2 quarters. And these are some of the more popular ones in terms of, the kind of affordability and in terms of the quantum as well. Right, and that is just a snippet of many of the listings that our team is currently marketing. So if you're interested based on either your preference, your needs, or even your budget, do feel free to reach out, right? So we can match accordingly to the house types and give you a more detailed kind of insight into what is available in the market and whether or not it's the right unit to enter now. All right, without further ado, still have 2 more districts to cover, District 20. So 20 will be a pretty interesting segment whereby actually a lot of unique qualities happen in this district, whereby you have schools, you have proximity to nature parks, and ultimately it's a very central location. So this is how we generally classify for District 20. So without further ado, this is going to be kind of synonymous throughout the whole webinar, you see a lot of rates, right? So transactions have dipped, but actually, if we dive deeper for District 20, notice Terraces seems to take the largest hit in terms of not only the price, but also the PSF. So generally, when you see double rates, is either, the market sentiment is not good. You see double blues usually is, like a bullish trend, but more has to be reviewed, as we unravel all this, all right? So for District 20 as well, there's only one detached. This is a original single story, but not to be confused in terms of the PSF. District 20, we generally kind of like to remind everyone that there's actually kind of a fragmentation within the district itself, where you find the highest PSF generally towards the Clover Binchang area, close to Junction 8, close to Raffles School, whereas the other areas that has more transactions usually occur like in Sembawang Hills. So diving deeper into it, we can see that actually a lot of transactions have actually resurfaced for especially Thomson Garden area. In terms of affordability, the net quantum, these are probably the very few areas in the Northeast where you still can find so-called value buys in terms of the quantum. But bear in mind, the PSF is definitely going to be on the higher side. This will be those terraces that are under 1,000 square feet. Okay, similarly, something that has been baffling to us is really about the original single-story terraces of late. Right, so Jalan Chenggam, this will be towards Sembawang Hills. So we see a fluctuation. There was transactions at 3.5 for single story, all the way down to 3.1, and then again now it kind of bounced back to 3.4. I think the deeper economics at play is really about the demand versus the supply in certain areas for certain house types. Okay, and for the highest transactions, this will be the one that I mentioned earlier at Binchang, single story. And obviously for the PSF, the smaller the land size, generally speaking, the higher the PSF. Okay, taking a deeper dive, this is where it gets very interesting. So comparing 2 quarters, we see that actually District 20 has tanked the market pretty well. Right, we see just kind of marginal dips in terms of the house segments. But as we go really deeper into it to understand why has the terraces declined by such a big margin, right? So as we look deeper, 17 terraces itself, there's only kind of one that has transacted that is a moving condition. Other than that, the rest, all right, these are houses that are either single story or they need quite a significant amount of work. So obviously with this kind of relationship within the 17, naturally the quantum goes down. The perceived value in terms of the PSF will also go down. All right, and for the first time here also, we are showing some of the average sizes so that it gives you a better perspective. Okay, for smaller units below 1,000, easily, I think you'll be breaching 2,000 plus per square foot, right? But a lot of them now happens to be very close to 2,000 or above 2,000 square feet. So generally, this one will have higher quantums, but lower PSFs. And for semi-Ds, I think the rebound has been very exciting. So despite a gain in the average value and PSF, we really need to understand where are these semi-Ds being transacted also. So for the 6 semi-Ds itself, one actually happens to be a brand new. There's one more brand new that's going to be caveated pretty soon. This will be at the crown of District 20. This will be in Binchang, Berjaya area. There's also one semi-D that is an excellent moving condition. That is also one of the trendsetters. And the rest are actually, we see a shift towards buyers kind of being slightly impatient in terms of the supply of moving condition houses, that they actually kind of really explore those that need work. So those like 2 stories, you can go up to 2.5 stories. It presents a interesting opportunity, a clean canvas for you to kind of build to your style. Okay. And of course, for the hot listings, this 99 is going to appear here because, again, in terms of the affordability, anything that is 3 million, I guess now, anywhere you look, is going to be something that's 99. But that being said, same as District 19, you have 5 bedrooms, fully maximized 2.5 stories, and in pretty well condition. Right? Conversely, when you look at something that is freehold, definitely the price point in terms of PSF and everything will go up. A lot will depend again on the construct and the interior and all the more than 40 off the bat unique selling points. Okay, for affordability, semi-Ds, I think this is one of the unit that has gaining a lot of traction in terms of the kind of price point, the kind of, how do I put it? A value buy, all right? This unit at Jalan Rukam has recently kind of like adjusted the price downwards, but yet makes it a very palatable kind of quantum as well. And conversely, for the detached, this one, I think most of the buyers who are familiar with this area will know that this is a very, very unique piece. If you are into kind of like, the panoramic views, the very good ventilation, and something that is already TOP ready to move in, is something definitely to consider. Don't forget to call us. All right. So again, these are a summary. With most of the houses being transacted in the last 2 quarters, these are still a very healthy stock levels in terms of the number of listings. And lastly, for me, District 28. So 28, every time I will spend a lot more time preparing the data because somebody also told me that this reminds them of a durian seed. I don't know why, in terms of how the district has been kind of categorized. Okay, so usually for the past many quarters, I have to dissect out pollen collection to give resale buyers and sellers a more accurate depiction of how the market is really kind of doing for District 28. Okay, so although we see a very huge drop, this is one of the largest drop compared to last quarter, but it's not something to really shy away from, because last quarter we saw an unprecedented increase for District 28 volume. This round with a 28% is still acceptable. It's still pretty strong, and you can see for both the average price and PSF, this both have kind of increased. And diving deeper, we need to really understand the various house types and what is really in demand. So for terraces, we see a huge jump, not only in price and PSF, again, double blue. And I can tell you now straight away that most of these transactions, actually about half of them are from Luxus Hills. So Luxus Hills buyers and sellers, this area is something that has a lot of things to offer, whereby it's fully maximized. Most of them have a lift, and they are kind of already relatively new as opposed to something that is more original. Semi-Ds, we see a dip, and I think more so for the average PSF. Detached, this is something that is once in many years, brand new detached that transacted recently shy of a 2000 PSF, right? This is a very unique listing in a sense, and of whoever bought it definitely bagged it at a very good value. So whether or not have you missed the opportunity for something like this at this quantum, or are there going to be more like this subsequently? Right, so for the chart toppers, or this will be, I think we will just skim through. This will be quite similar in terms of the other districts as well. Lowest PSF, high chance the guilty ones will be those super original condition, single story, lowest quantum as well. And this is the one I'm mentioning just now for the detached transaction. And not surprisingly, Luxus Hills, time and time again, they breach the ceiling, right? So for this one, being almost close to 2009 PSF, will it continue to rise, right? Will it continue to set the trends for terraces, corner terraces in District 28? Okay, taking a deeper dive. So sorry, So you can see for the semi-Ds, we still pretty healthy in terms of number of transactions. Terraces, in fact, they took a huge dive. A lot of them were used to be transacted last quarter. It's going to be in the Seletar, even some parts of Jalan Kayu. So I think also for this quarter, simply the shortage or the decline in the number of supply in these areas have kind of contributed to kind of, the results we see here. But that being said, 26 transactions in a quarter for District 28 is nothing to really be to cry about. It's actually a pretty healthy level. Okay, for terraces as well. So dissecting deeper into the number of transactions and the areas that we classify them, having a very healthy half split, definitely this is the contributing factor to the exponential result that we see for the average values this quarter for District 28. And similarly for the semi-Ds, so we have actually one brand new, and these are the trendsetters already, very close to $2,000 per square foot. And that being said, also we have we see a resurgence, in fact, for District 28, a lot more of the original condition or those not maximized houses being transacted as well. So generally, this will be, of course, lower quantum, lower PSF. Right, and these are some of the more popular ones. If you are in the market for something that offers excellent space, good layout, Sunrise Close, this is one of the hottest listings that we have on hand every weekend without fail. And similarly for Mimosa, these are very similar in the sense that these are 3.5-story houses, offering pretty similar kind of value and kind of space. Right. Likewise, for semi-Ds, Luxus Hills, this is something that oftentimes will be heavily swamped by most buyers, also in the 3.5-story zone. And for those of you who are looking for something brand new, right, we have some still also in the Jalan Kayu area. This one I think is close to TOP already. All right, so the stocks for District 28 last quarter kind of wiped out majority. So now we are lower in stock, but a lot of them are still pretty kind of hot in the market, per se. All right, so with that, I'll hand over to Cindric, taking care of Central West.
Thank you, Sean. Hi, I'm Cindric, and we're going through first the West districts, District 21 and 23 first. Okay, so at a glance, these are the cluster of houses within D21. Okay, you've joined us before, you will be familiar by now. So these are the few pointers that we'll be going through. Okay, now D21 thing, caveat, 21, 23, because their transaction volumes are lower. So any slight movement, right, you see like figures would jump significantly. So this is something we need to put it up across to you first. West being more budget-friendly location, especially D23, which I'll cover later on. And being the area where the transaction volumes are not as comparable, not as large a number as compared to the other districts like the District 15, District 19. So any small movement you see like some significant jump lah. The percentage especially tends to become pretty large. So for this quarter, there are more active of up to 40% transactions. But technically, actually, there are just 4 more transactions this quarter compared to the last. Okay, so average price has decreased by 15 plus 0.4% now. Likewise for the average PSF, that has dropped a little bit. Okay, 14 plus, which I'll go through right now from here. Okay, for District 21, the terraces, the average price has decreased by 9.6%, whereas the PSF has dropped by 21%. Now, this being for the terrace, for this quarter wise, because there was one particular 99-year leasehold house that kind of sold at a pretty low price tag. It cost the number to show such significant jumps, like especially in terms of the PSF. Whereas previously they were all mostly freehold and 999 ones, right? And as for the semi-D, okay, why the prices dropped also was because previous quarter in Q2, right? Majority of the semi-Ds were transacted at Upper Danien area. Upper Danien meaning Sian Tuan, Hua Guan area. Now, if you understand District 21, Upper Danien houses are the one that always takes the cake as the highest in terms of quantum, highest in terms of PSF. Now, therefore, because previous quarter, there were quite a few Upper Danien houses transacted, the semi-D class. Therefore, versus this quarter, that's why it caused the price to reflect this significant drop in terms of PSF and quantum, right? As for detached house, okay, why the drop? Also, there's also a reason, is because for Q3 this quarter, there is one 99-year leasehold detached that was sold at a very low price. I think the lease is at Jalan Keria. The lease is only left with 24 years. So that's why thereby it kind of skewed the number quite significantly. So if you see a sea of red, don't be alarmed. There are reasons behind it. And sometimes it's just As I explained before, District 21 being a district with not too many transactions, some outlier transaction, right, tend to skew the number a bit. That is the reason why Huttons Landed Division, I mean, we're here to really dive deep into the figures and to explain to you consumers. So otherwise, if not, you would like be kind of alarmed why the figure tend to jump so significant, etc. So having said that, therefore, yeah, if you have any questions, look for us, Huttons Landed Division, right? Okay, so chart toppers. Okay, for District 21, we're just going to go through the freehold and the 999 ones because there are not that many 99-year leasehold houses in this district. So lowest quantum, of course, naturally goes to the Terrace house. This is at Greenwich Crescent at 4.2. Lowest quantum, and yet it's 4.2 actually. So it's compared to some other districts, their lowest quantum is like probably 3 million plus. But for D21, lowest quantum is really 4.2 mil. Okay, lowest PSF goes to this Doi Drive. This is along the main R3 belt that serves all the Engkong, Total, Kismis, Enclave. So it's along this main belt, main R3. That's why the PSF it's low for this particular house. Okay. Right. Then let's talk about the highest transaction. Okay, this 40 Sunset Heights takes the cake. It's a very nice house. Rebuilt not too many years ago. Okay, detached. Look at the land size, whopping 8,900. Sorry, 8,000. Yeah, 8,592 square feet. So it's a huge detached house. Okay, at Sunset, and it was transacted at 20 mil. Okay, and then for the highest quantum, as I've mentioned before earlier, for Upper Danyan, Sian Tuan area, Hua Guan area, the houses there tends to always take the cake for highest in terms of PSF, right? Okay. Diving deeper, okay, at a glance, basically, most of the transactions, right, for 50, more than half of this time around for this quarter has been consistent with last quarter as well. They were transacted between 4 to 8 million. Right? This is the trend so far consistently for the past 2 quarters for this District 21. Of course, we've got more data to analyze to share with you, so feel free to approach us. Okay. Now, the hot listings, I just want to share with you some of them over here. We've got this Clementi Road house. Clementi Road, very close to Sunset, highly sought after. Very convenient, near to, the HDB enclave with lots of amenities. So this terrace house is currently in the market. And then also, if you're looking for something brand new, we have this semi-D at Sian Tuan area. Okay, it's almost going to TOP soon. This is a brand new, comes with pool, comes with lift, and it's available at Sian Tuan. Okay, it's Upper Danyan, very good location. And then we have got this new listing that my teammates just acquired. This is a detached house at Hua Guan area. Okay, Upper Danyan again. Okay, 4,800 square feet. Calling price is 13 mil. Okay, it's a Balinese style, very well kept, comes with a pool. Good condition house, currently vacant, so you'll be selling vacant. Okay, if you're looking for something a little bit more modern, then we have this detached house at Hua Guan as well. It comes with a pool and lift, very well kept, very good condition house actually, modern, and I can say it's as good as move-in ready, right? So come approach either of us. And then, yeah, these are the summary of the listings that we have currently in our database. Okay, next, I shall move on to District 23. And at a glance, the location of the enclaves, the cluster of houses are here. Okay, marked in red for D23. And these are the pointers that we're going through at a glance. So, okay, for Q3 right now, there are less, a slight dip in terms of transactions. Okay, 11% lower. Okay, average price wise, this one, yeah, very scary. Well, it looks like the number is like 67.5% jump in terms of average price. Now, this is, of course, because D23 has a GCB enclaves, right? So in this quarter, so happened that there were two GCBs being transacted. GCB, of course, naturally highest in terms of quantum, right? So it causes the number once again be very skewed. One was transacted at 25 million, and then another one was, I think, 12.6 million. So because on average, right, District 23, the houses average price is 2+ mil. So once you got two transactions, like one is 12 mil and another one is 20+ mil, so many times more. Therefore, yeah, the jump looks pretty scary, 67.5%. Okay, but this is the reason why. So we are here to analyze for you, and we're here to explain to you, right? Average PSF wise, is an increase of 7.1%. Okay. Now, Terrace house. Okay, the average price decreased by 9.5% from 3.4 to 308 mil. Okay, average PSF yet still increased by about 3.9%, right? And for the semi-D wise, okay, this one also another outlier. Semi-D average price increased by 56% as well. It's like, the previous figure, very scary. And the average PSF increased by 53%. Why this is so? It's because if you look below, it's in a smaller font, I put, because there was the huge jump was due to in others, sorry, it's supposed to be zone and not district. Okay, now for D23, there's this particular enclave of houses we classify under others. It's Jalan Uji, Jalan Asas area. The houses over there, the lease started in 1946, just 1 year after Second World War. So the lease is only down to 22 years. So there were two semi-Ds being transacted in previous quarter, and it really dragged the prices down in terms of quantum and PSF. That's why this time around there weren't any of such low remaining lease houses transacted. Thereby, it caused the number to jump like so significantly. So yeah, so semi-D, once there's any transaction transacted, right, in the others category, others zone within D23, I always have to be careful to analyze the reason why, okay, and then explain to consumers like yourself, right? So, and then detached houses, there weren't any transactions in Q2, and no GCB as well in Q2, so there's no comparison. Chart toppers wise, moving on. Okay, we talk about the freehold and 999 first, then later we'll cover the 99-year leasehold properties. Okay, lowest quantum goes to this transacted at this house at 8 Hillview Drive. Now, this location, right, whenever there's a listing that comes out, it's pretty highly sought after. You tend to get sold pretty fast, right, at 3.8. Okay, and then the lowest quantum goes to this GCB. Now, this was one of the houses I mentioned just now. One of the GCBs I mentioned, 12.68 million. Yeah, and the quantum, ironically, is the lowest. But yet, yeah, the PSF is lowest, the quantum is one of the highest, right? Okay. Very nice house. It's a boutique GCB actually. It's within the GCB zone. It's only 9,446 square feet. Okay. Fairly new. And yeah, it's a moving condition house. So for those that don't want to pay like a whopping 30 mil in Central District, so some will actually come over to Chestnut D23 to purchase a boutique GCB. Yeah. Okay. And it only costs 12 mil. Yeah. Okay, for GCB. Okay, and then this one, it's the highest quantum, so 25 million GCB that was transacted at Chestnut Drive. Okay, now this one, yeah, then this is a more right size kind of GCB, 17,000+ square feet. Okay, still compared to Central District, some would find that this is a steal, right? Okay, if you have been following, the past few years couple of years of GCB transactions. Okay, then last but not least, for freehold and 999 years, this house at Pavilion takes the cake naturally. Why? Because for District 23, Pavilion is the one, just like what Upper Daniel houses are in D21. Okay, Pavilion in D23 tends to be the one that transact at the highest PSF. Okay, and this was done in 2593 PSF. Okay, next we'll move on to the 99-year leasehold categories. Okay, the lowest quantum goes to this. This is the one that I mentioned in the other zone category houses. Okay, once again, the lease is down to 22 years. Whenever there's such transaction in this locale, yeah, they will take the cake for the lowest quantum and lowest PSF. If PSF is only 400 plus. This is in the terrace. In the terrace is 400 plus, but semi-D is even lower. The semi-D PSF is as low as 200 plus PSF, right? So they're all below 1 mil, $780,000. Yeah. So yeah, some might find it because maybe it's as good as renting a house. I pay like probably how much? 30,000 per plus per year. Yeah. So surprisingly, there will still be people interested in purchasing such houses, right? Okay, staying at landed. Yeah. And the 99-year leasehold naturally goes to this detached house at Almond area, Almond Avenue. Okay, 3.85 mil. And then for highest PSF, it goes to this 224 Verde View at 1712 PSF. Okay. Right. Okay, deeper dive. So this one is the same as D21 as well. This time round, the most popular range are more or less the same as Q2. Are all transacted within the range of 2 mil to 5 mil. Okay, so very consistent for these two districts. Yeah, D23 being a budget friendly district, so this tends to be the range lah usually. Okay, and then in terms of the per square foot wise, you notice why I did two boxes is because the first box on top, okay, reflect most of the 99-year leasehold units. Their range in terms of PSF, 1,300 to about 1,600. Okay, and for the freehold and 999 categories, then the transaction range usually hovers around 1,700 to 1,800 PSF. Okay, once again, yeah, if you like more analysis, other more detailed analysis, do feel free to approach us. And then quickly, okay, we have some hot listings to recommend to you. These two are also new listings that we have just acquired this month. Okay, one is this corner terrace at Verde. Okay, going for 2.7 mil. And if you're looking for a leasehold, budget-friendly semi-D, then we've got this house at Burgundy Crescent. Okay, very neat place because the whole enclave are all just semi-Ds. So it's a semi-D zone, very beautiful enclave, I would say. Yeah, and this house at Burgundy, the back, right at the back is a little park. So it's very nice. Lots of privacy. Yeah. Okay. And for a good buy in terms of detached houses, this is a good sizable house at Galliston Avenue. Okay, 7,200 square feet. And the PSF is only 1,300, right? Okay. And of course, if you want something that is more around Hillview area, okay, we have this detached house, also very good size, 8,000 square feet, asking 60 million, right? And finally, yeah, these are the listings that we have in our database for District 23. Feel free to approach any of us if you'd like to find out more. Next, I shall pass my time to Jason, who will go through the East Region houses. Thank you.
Thank you, Sindrit. Yeah, okay, let me share my slide for D13. Yeah. Okay, here we go for D13. Okay, just to cover for the D13 for the benefit of those probably the first time Generally, D13 we actually split into Brother Height. Over here we have the McPherson Garden Senate. McPherson Garden being the what we call smallest among the rest. And also another part is this is where most of the so-called terraces are below 1,000 square feet. Yeah. So overall, you see at a glance on the transaction, we are seeing 47% surge in terms of transaction, mainly come from Terrace. Mainly come. I will show you more later part on the deeper share, and on the average price dropped by 7.8%, and on price average price increased 45%, 4.5. Yeah. So this is more covering like where are the increase, where are the what you call the adjustment. Terraces seeing the 11.1% increase as compared to PSF. So again, over here, what you can see, the terraces, most of them actually closing what you call small terraces below 1,000 PSF. But in contrast, there are a couple of new, brand new terraces. So that's why actually bring up the price over here. Same thing for semi-D, and you see the price increase as well as the PSF by 10.6. Generally, there are a couple of brand new semi-D being closed over here. Yeah. So this area mainly are from this Brother Height. The Brother Height where there are actually two semi-Ds close, brand new close. As for detached, we are seeing the price decrease. One of the reasons is because for this detached, this time round, the detached in terms of land size becomes smaller. Generally, the detached over there in Brother Height are more than 10,000, but this time round we have one of them was below 7,000 square feet. So generally, that's one of the reasons. That's why it pulled down the price by 13.1%. So on chart toppers, as mentioned, where you see the lowest quantum, this is the lowest quantum. Generally, D13, I mentioned this is at McPherson Garden. And these are, in terms of land size, you are seeing less than 1,000 square feet. So if you're looking for something, let's say, affordable, or rather from those compared to those 99 year, you go into Freehold, and below 3 mil, this is something that probably can look at McPherson Garden area. On this lowest PSF, okay, because of the I mentioned just now, the land size was actually on the bigger land size for detached. So with the volume, with the price, this is quite original. So when it actually closed, the PSF is quite low. So likewise for this one, because of the quantum, same thing for this Chiltern Drive, you have a higher quantum. Highest PSF, same thing as you can see. If the PSF, because the land size is smaller, so as the price becomes higher and higher as it sell, then it will cross the PSF generally become higher, and it's crossed almost 3,000, more than 3,000 PSF. So as I mentioned just now, to share more, where are the actually search from the search for the what you call night terraces? Mainly come from Senate and McPherson Garden, and a lot more actually you can see is almost like jump 140% for Senate, and also for distance 40%. A lot more are actually below I would say 3.5 mil. Yeah. And you can see there's a jump a lot for terraces mainly. So on price wise, on the value, the 2 mil to 4 mil price range is still quite common, and it shows very significant for this time round, as there's a surge of almost 60 to 100%. Generally, I would say again, it's because of the terraces where a lot of them actually transacted below 4 mil. Okay, so over here for this, where we see the volume, the PSF actually increased. So generally, the PSF actually, it goes to more than 2,000 PSF right now, most of them. As you can see, even for this, what you call 1,008 to 2,000, we are still hovering 18%. The rest is more than 2,000 PSF. Mainly terraces. Terraces, most of them is below 1,000 PSF, 1,000 square feet, and the price are actually crossed. Some even 2.5 or 2.6. That's why it goes to above 2,000 PSF. So these are just some of the examples that I can show you. Most of them are actually below 1,000 square feet in terms of size. Generally below 1,000, there's a lot. Coming to the hot listing we have for you. Actually, this time round, this is McPherson Garden. Again, there's another one, as you can see, less than 1,000 square feet. Price is only below 3 mil. So these are actually more affordable. But of course, in terms of PSF, as you can see, will be probably 3,000 PSF. On the other side, for Corner Terrace, we are actually seeing this one. I will say the condition not bad, and this is very near to Potong Pasir MRT station. With this such a what you call near to the MRT station, looking at only 4.8. This is something probably you can look at for your family. Next, semi-detached and detached over here. You can see this. This is Brother Height, Worcester Road, very near to. It's about probably 5 to 8 minutes walk to MRT station as well as bus interchange. And this one only asking about 6.2 and it's less than. It's probably in the range of 1.6 PSF. Of course, this is original condition, but in terms of layout, in terms of size, it's a very spacious layout. Yeah. As for this detached, this is at McPherson Estate. And this, if you look at the size, 7,002, you can easily subdivide into 2 semi-D. And the frontage is almost like 19 meters. So it's good size for you, for family that where actually they wanted to stay together. You can actually buy one and then split into 2 semi-D. There are more actually, and you can approach our HLD consultant to get more so-called from our system. Next, let me cover District 14. So District 14 is much more clear-cut. Over here, generally, I will say the transaction come from Kembangan. Eunos, occasionally there are 1 or 2, which is very small in terms of location. And Geylang used to have a very high transaction, but generally, I would say right now, the transaction come from Kembangan mainly. Let's share. Overall transaction dropped by 20%. And hold on a minute. Give me a minute. And price-wise, for average price and PSF, we are seeing generally increasing on price. And where the increase come from, let me share more. Terrace, we are increasing 8.4 by close to 9%. Likewise for the PSF, again, this one come from Kembangan and more on into the, I would say, the smaller terrace. Some of them, I think, if I'm wrong, there's one or two brand new. Likewise for semi-D, there are a couple of brand new actually transacted. That's why we are seeing the price increase surge very high to 4.48%. And likewise for PSF, Detached, we are seeing a drop in 6.8% in pricing, but on PSF, there's a surge in the PSF. One of the reasons because of the price drop and then the land size. Yeah, okay. On chart toppers, we are seeing the lowest quantum and lowest PSF. On the other side, on lowest PSF, you can see this one. One of the reasons is this one is actually next to the MRT track basement. MRT track was actually right below. So though the land size is quite big, it's selling only 5, but it's very original condition. Probably those who purchase are very likely to actually rebuild. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why the PSF so low. On the quantum side, Jalan Grisit, this is actually quite deep inside, quite deep into Kembangan. So for those who actually without car to walk into the MRT is very inconvenient. So as I mentioned just now, because of the brand new, like this one, Jalan Awan, this is actually the brand new semi-D. So as such, you can see the price increase. And likewise for the same thing, for 81, for this Jalan Senang, this is actually a terrace. It's a very small terrace, 1,008, and yeah, the PSF is actually go up to almost 3,000. That's one of the reasons why you are seeing actually the price increase and PSF increase as well for Terrace. So over here for the transacted value and volume, we can see between 3 mil to 6 mil have been adjusted upward, and we are seeing more transacted in the range of 4 to 6 mil. Yeah. Likewise on the PSF side. So the one more than generally we are seeing more transaction actually above 1,009 or even 2,000 right now. Contact the just approach your HLD consultant who invited you for more information. These are some of the hot listings that we have. Brand new. This is actually, there are 3 brand new over here. As you can see, 1, 2, 3. So far, I think 2 have been sold. So left 1. So grab before it's gone. Yeah, this is brand new. I would say TOP expected this year. So if you're looking for something move-in condition, brand new, yeah, and can consider this. Likewise, for this, on the other hand, for this corner terrace, you see a huge space, good for people who can easily park, I would say, how many cars? 5 cars. So for those who actually, and not only that, I think the condition is pretty well maintained, as you can see. So can consider if you are looking for something big in space, more cars to park, especially when your guest is here. So on the other side, this is semi-D. This is along McPherson area, very close to McPherson area. This is quite original, but the land size is big for semi-D. This Lorong Marzuki, this is a very unique detached over here in Kembangan area. Walking distance is about probably like 10 minutes to MRT station. Yeah. Okay, and you look at the land size is 4,003 and it's only asking 1,008. Almost moving condition. Yeah. Contact your HLD consultant for more information. These are some of the more hot listing that actually we can share. Just contact the HLD. Next, I'll pass to Justin, yeah, to share with you more on D15. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Good evening to all. I'm Justin. I'm going to talk to you about District 15. Now, before I dive into District 15, I think a lot of by client of me asking me what would the outlook of District 15 actually coming forward. So let's find out. First of all, we have this demarcation of District 15 into 4 zones. This is nothing new to you all. I believe you all have been keeping track and joining our webinar every time. We're thankful for that. And for District 15, we have Katong, Chucha, Teluk Kurau, and Siglap, where Siglap is where all the transactions happen there. And Katong is where mostly are, if not semi-D, but will be detached. Okay. Now, the whole transactions for the quarters is actually dropped by 11%. Actually, I just noticed that there are many other districts are actually dropping the same percentage. I'm not sure whether is it because of parents are attending their kids for the PSLE exam or that's why the many districts actually have this similar drop in terms of percentage of volume, but the prices also decreases by 5.5%. PSF wise increases by 2%. Interestingly, when I come to the next chart, you will see among the terrace, semi-D and detached, semi-D is the one that dropped, but marginally at 1.4%, or the PSF 6.6%. Actually, because of the semi-D, there was one new one that was actually caveated last quarter, which is the Carrara, the semi-D. They actually crossed 3,000 PSF. They actually brought pulled the whole PSF up in last quarter versus the nearest quarter 3. And for terraces, interestingly, when I look at it, right, so the PSF has indeed increased from 2246 to 2382 PSF, which is very, very high. Because there was one transaction, I think nowadays when buyer buy, they look at not only the location, but also look at the condition of the house, especially when houses that already built up to 3.5 story, moving condition, they are willing to pay. There was one inter-terrace, 1,006 square feet at East Coast Avenue. They was sold at above 3,000 at 5.5 million, which is very, very high. It's a record. And for detached, we see a decline in price by 9%. It's actually because of the no bigger than 7,000 square feet detached was sold in Katong this quarter 3 compared to quarter 2. There was one sold along the Branson Road. And for chart topper, you will see this Hammond Road, which always been forgotten road by many residents in District 15. This is a very exclusive road. It's only about 9 houses there, and in the terrace there. What's going on that the plot that opposite Hammond Road is going to build HDB. So for this particular terraces was actually transacted at 1.6 million and at only 1038 PSF, which is I don't think you can find anywhere else in District 50 at the moment. So this is as I would say this is an outlier. So for a brand new in Broadrick, sold at 18 million, this price was actually adjusted down. So now they actually transacted at 2,007 versus actually they were asking above 3,000. I think all the buyers are very savvy. They know what they want to buy, right? If you look at the whole Katong, the new one detaches are all easily cross 3,000 or even inching to 4,000 PSF. And for this one, the new one at the Chucha Terrace 91 was sold at 3,760 PSF. A new one terrace now are calling or transacted at 6 million and above. Now, interestingly, if you look at this chart, first of all, look at the PSF. It has been resilient, has been raising for the past almost 5 years, from 1,006 all the way to 2,003 now in average. If you look at into detail, like Katong, Chucha, and the 4 zone, right? Katong, needless to say, always the chart the top. Top the chart. Then second will be followed by Chucha. Chucha is because of some is pulled up by some of the conservation residential shop houses, because they are now selling at above 3,000 to 4,000. And next will be Teluk Kurau and Siglap. Teluk Kurau is a bit surprising to me. Why 2002, right? It's also because of the East Coast Avenue that I talked about earlier on, because it's actually transacted above 3,000. So hence, overall, the Teluk Kurau PSF has gone up for terraces at Teluk Kurau. Otherwise, if I were to take this off, normalize the whole PSF, it's going to be about 1,007 to 1,009, depending on the condition of the house. Then the next will be semi-D. Now, semi-D, if you look at the whole transaction, it's dropped by 11%. Detached and terraces are the one that dropped. But semi-D, volume for semi-D increases. So that's why actually I pulled this chart out and want to share a bit more on semi-D in District 15. At a glance, you can see this is the price tag of a semi-D in District 15. For Katong, easily 8, 9, or even we also have 10 million. Juchet about 5, Teluk Kurau 7, Siglap 6. Of course, you would ask me, how come Teluk Kurau is more expensive than Siglap? Okay, needless to say, is because Teluk Kurau, the semi-D transacted there was always with a bigger land size. Hence, actually, the quantum are higher. Otherwise, actually, Siglap, Teluk Kurau are more affordable semi-D that you can get. But of course, we have a lot more analysis that we have running out of time. We couldn't show here. You can reach out to us. And hot listing. Let's look at the first listing I'm going to show. This Jalan Keris. This is a built-up 3.5-story house at Jalan Keris. Jalan Keris is something that's similar to East Coast Avenue, where they always command premium when it comes to pricing. So this one in particular already built up. So it's actually ideal for people who want to move in immediate. Don't have to spend go through the hassle to build a house. So they are going for 5.5 negotiable. Next thing will be Upper East Coast Road. This is not along the main road. This is actually more exclusive because it's inside the Kautisek Road. So this new one is going for 8.2 for a 2616 square feet corner terrace. Next will be, this is the semi-D, which I find it very affordable in terms of the PSF, only 1,006. I believe you will agree with me. Reach out to us. We want to show this house. I think this is something that you could really seriously consider for a semi-D for 4,000 land size. And next we have a detached at Siglap Bank. This is something that you may want to may interest you, because actually on the second level and the third level you already have a very panoramic view of the whole city view, and the house was in tip-top condition. You just bring your luggage to move in. So these are only a few houses that I can showcase tonight, but we have more. Do reach out to us. Thanks. I'm going to pass on to Michael to talk about District 16. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. I will cover, good evening, I'm Michael. I will cover District 16. Before I go into, I just want to highlight 2 points on the area. Firstly, the Standard Lucky High area, which you can see here. It has in the past the highest transaction in terms of value as in terms of PSF. And the second observation here is the other area, that is the Q Drive, Jalan Limau next to it, always have the highest transaction comparatively. It commands about 80% of the market share, owing to a high density of the houses there, and there's a good mix of freehold and leasehold. For the whole of for this year, up to the first 9 months, year on year, we compare, there is actually an increase of 52% of transaction in District 16. Therefore, we are not having a slow market. We are having a progressively increasing market. Let's look at the quarter transaction. There is actually a marginal increase in volume by 9%, transaction from 34 to 37. Average PSF, however, dropped 8.9% to 4.054. And average price have dropped. Average PSF have dropped also 9.5% from a last quarter high of 1,661 to 1,504. Going into detail, terrace houses, we see also a decrease in price by 2.7% to last quarter 3.91 highest, and is going down to 3.81. There's a substantial decrease in the PSF, 18.8%. This is due to a lesser transaction of houses below the 2,000 PSF. So it has gone down to 1,651. Semi-D pair, not too bad. A marginal decrease 3.2% to 4.41 mil. There is actually a marginal increase in PSF from 1,250 to 1,289, and this is the highest. No transaction for detached house. Record setting, lowest quantum here is 3.4 mil for this house at 11 Jalan Tanjung. Compared to the previous quarter was 3.3, so there's an increase. Likewise, the PSF on the right side you see is 1145. Again, this is higher than the last quarter of 1,001. Now, this is interesting. For highest quantum, This house at 11 Jalan Sorani is a brand new house with a massive built-up area of 7,008, 8 bedroom, 10 bathroom, going at 10 mil, and also highest PSF 2007-4, higher than the last quarter of 2005. First time we are showing the leasehold. Lowest transaction is 2.6 mil. Again, compared to the last quarter, 2.3. So there is actually an increase in trends of 99-year lease property going up. PSF-Y is 1106 PSF at 11 Q Walk. And if you recall just now, the freehold transaction is 1145. So there is actually a narrowing of gap for 99 lease here. Highest quantum here is 3.46, same house that you saw just now, 11 Q Drive. And the highest PSF for this quarter is 1684. Let's look deeper into it. In terms of value, transaction between 2 to 6 mil, we saw 77% in Q3 versus 91% in Q1. And also there's an increase in transaction 6 million above by 12% to 4 transactions in Q3. And the highest quantum transacted is 10 million. In terms of PSF, it's between 1,001 to 1,008, 63% in Q3 versus only 38% in Q2. And you can see down here at the bottom, the number of transactions below 2,000 PSF, or rather above 2,000 PSF, has gone down 24%. Another interesting trend is you can see right on top, transaction below the 800 PSF. Why is that so? All these houses that were transacted are actually with tenure of 60 to 70 years, and they have a balance of only about 10 years. So therefore, low value transaction and low PSF. If you need more information, we have all this in our data, and you are able to get the detail by contacting any one of us. And the hot buy, we have got 4 units to share with you. One is this corner terrace at Sunbird Circus. The price tag is 5.8. It got a big land area of 4,209. And that this is actually very near to Simei MRT station, about 8 minutes walk. Another corner terrace, same price, but at higher PSF of 1705. It is 2-story, no west sun, right? Facing is northeast, and about 10 minutes walk to Tanah Merah MRT station. And this semi-detached, if you can see from the photo here, it has a very wide frontage and has space to park 3 cars. What is good about this semi-D is that at the back of this house, there is actually a greenery park with a playground. So those who have interest to own this semi-D in a tranquil surrounding at a price of 6.8 mil. And the last one that I have here to share with you is this brand new 2.5-story detached house with a massive built-up area of 11,009, have 8 rooms and 9 bathrooms. At this price, which has been reduced from 11,000 to the current price 10.25. So for those of you who are interested in any of these houses, together with the other listing that we have here, do contact us. We are most willing and happy to provide you the detail and arrange for viewing. Thank you. I will now pass on to Will for District 10.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Michael. So let me dive into the data for 10 and 11 Bukit Timah area. So again, Bukit Timah has been dissected into a few different sectors, of which Holland, 6th Avenue, Bukit Timah, Tanglin, and a small little pocket near Orchard. Yeah, so let's take a quick glance at the overall transaction, how this D10 is performing. So you will see in terms of volume, it dropped significantly up to at a 39% decrease compared to last quarter. And of course, price increase where PSF, you will see a decline this time round. Yeah, of which Terrace performed the best this time round in terms of average price and average PSF. But for semi-D wise, there's a significant decrease, more than 10% onwards. Yeah, and PSF dropped significant with a slight drop of 3.2%, and of course Detached a significant drop mainly due to the leasehold 99 years semi-D and Mount Sinai, the Holland area being transacted. Yeah, so it actually bring out the overall sales and the overall PSF well. And this time around, GCB, you see an increased number of GCB that's being sold, push up the average price, but PSF remains low with a decline of 13.4%. And the record setting for some of the houses that's being transacted in this quarter, actually a corner terrace at a Holland area at 5.7 million, and of course the lowest at this Mount Sinai Road, facing the main road of Mount Sinai, and where there's bus traveling along this stretch of road and also near to school. Hence, this house is only sold at 1506 PSF. Or the other downside is close to Henry Park. So due to the congestion of the morning rush for school, and yeah, actually pulled out the whole value PSF. Next, we are going to show you the highest in terms of value and highest PSF. You can see here the Clooney GCB that's being transacted at 52, and the brand new house at this Jervois that's touching the $4,000 PSF mark. So some of the let's dive in deeper. This time round, compared to Q2, you will realize bulk of the number of the house are transacted between the range of 8 to below 8 to below 10 million, and of course, mainly the houses that transact more than 20 million mark are mainly the GCB. And of course, as mentioned, houses that's being transacted between the 8 to 10 million are mainly the semi-Ds. If let's say earlier chart, you will still remember semi-D over around average price about 2,003. But I'm going to pull out all the leasehold semi-D. The average price for freehold and 999 semi-D actually hover around $3,400 PSF per square on the average. Yeah, so as you can see, this is what I'm going to illustrate earlier, where price for semi-D was about average price was about 2.4, but as mentioned, as recap what I mentioned again, if I'm going to draw all the 99 leasehold, you are looking at somewhere about 3,004 on average. Yeah, so some of the analysis that we have. If you would like to know more detail, please engage your consultant to approach us, or you can approach us directly. And some of these hot listing that we are marketing right now, a corner terrace, huge land at a Holland area for a low PSF of 1,008. And for semi-D of close to, or I would say below the 10 million mark, this semi-D at Ampang has a very nice layout, internal layout, which is also PSF, which is also quite friendly. Next is this almost, I would say, mint condition semi-D at Mount Sinai. Something that's not going to miss if you are looking for something which is more move-in ready. And of course, if you are for detached home, this is the first time we are marketing a detached home, a price close to a semi-D at only 10.6 million. So don't miss. For more listings, you can engage any of our consultants to approach us. Next, dive into D11. D11 again is also segregated into a few different zoning: the Swiss Club, Daniel, Novena, and a small little pocket at a Telecom area where most of the houses there are GCB. So, sorry, some mistake. Okay. By the way, for D11, you will see transaction volume also dropped significantly by 36%. Okay. So price-wise, drop and PSF increase. So I think most of the houses here, in terms of price, it dropped. In terms of PSF increase in D11. So some of the record-setting, a terrace house at Shefford area at 6.5, and this boutique GCB at Oreo Crescent that transacted at only 20 million due to some of the factors like is actually on the lower ground. So the first floor is like the first level of the house. So hence it actually transact at a lower PSF, but in terms of highest quantum for D11, 8 Oreo actually transact at the highest, and this particular terrace house at Shefford again transact at the highest in terms of PSF, touching crossing the 3,600 mark. So deeper dive this time round, okay, compared to Q2, Q3, you will see there's more houses transacting across 2,008 to above 3,000. Yeah, with 57% of the house sold, crossing the $2,800 PSF mark. So in terms of price, you'll see bulk of the houses hovering between the 10 million. I would say the popular price is within the 10 to 15 million, 15 million mark. Yeah. And of course, all the deeper analysis, if you want, just approach us. And some of the hot buy listings that I would like to emphasize. I still remember the semi-Ds. Semi-Ds are hovering between the 8 million to 10 million or 9 million mark. So these are the few houses that you should not miss. One at Boxing, the other one at Gold Hill. Boxing wise, have a very nice elevated view. It's on one of the highest ground with a very nice layout. And for Gold Hill, it's close to amenities, also close to schools. Next is this house at Jalan Seni, next to a park. Though it's surrounded, first thing first, this area is surrounded by mainly detached. Yeah. So the exclusive and the side gate of this house, semi-D at Seni, is open up to or bring you easy, convenient to park. And recently, there's also a transaction at Shefford with a land size, with a semi-D land size of about 4,100 that transacted at 10.6 million. Make this a value buy. Have a look at the land of 4,400 square feet. Yeah, asking for only 10.8. And next is actually the brand new detached within the D11, asking for 18.2 million. It's also quite palatable and priced attractively, as there's already transactions within D11 that cross the $3,700 PSF. So more listings available. Contact us as and when. Reach out to your consultants. Now I'll hand over the airtime to Willie to wrap up the rest.
Thank you, everyone, my dear district ICs. You can tell that they are the experts in various areas. All right, I hope you all have learned a lot about the various districts, regions, house types, price range, etc. All right, now we're coming back to the main question we're gonna address today. All right, how can you again buy and sell be faster? Have you gotten some clues from what we have shared so far? Actually, if you have gone through the various 1.5 hours, I think you already are better than other buyers and sellers because you're now equipped with information, right? Information that a lot of people don't have. Because that is important for you to be able to then understand the market better and to price your house or to purchase your house at a more optimal price. Okay. Now, to share this topic, frankly, the next 10 minutes or so will not be sufficient. Even if you give me 2 hours, it's almost quite impossible to share what you want to share, because as you can see already, what is very obvious is that you cannot just do a blanket statement across not even the market, and definitely not even a district, right? The way that the district is segmented into the different types is very difficult. And let's not also forget, every house type is different. Every house is different as well, all right? So, but we try to attempt to basically share with you what is the number one principle that we, after 10 years of the market, I think can help you, right? But first, the assumption is that you want to be faster, you must first be a motivated and ready buyer or seller. I don't mean no offense to any sellers who are not ready and you're taking your time, because to be honest, and we also understand as well, the timing may not be right for you, and you can take up to another 6, 9, or even 12 months to basically see how the market goes to achieve something that is where the buyers are not ready yet. All right. Likewise for buyers as well, you're not ready and you have not sold your place, etc. This faster thing is only when you say perhaps within the next 1 to 2 months, 3 months, for example. All right, you must be ready and motivated, and you are contented. Right, second assumption, to buy, sell at a fair, reasonable market value. Emphasis here on fair, reasonable market value. That means if, let's say, just now I give an example, if the average price now, or PSF, for District 15 Terrace, for example, Justin have shared, is around, let's say, 2003, 2005. But you insist on wanting 3,000 for a similar, let's say, 2-story, 2.5-story. Then, frankly, is this a fair, reasonable market value? If it's not, then, frankly, no matter who comes in, we can't fetch sky-high prices or unrealistic prices for you, because buyers have options, right? Buyers have options. Same thing as well as a buyer. If you want to come in and a typical semi-D now in District 19 is like what, $4 million. You still want to get a 3.2, 2-story, 1,006 square feet. They just don't exist anymore. All right. So, but if you're looking for something that is reasonable, but you don't want to lose out to other buyers, how can we do to help you? Okay. The main problem now, okay, even if you are motivated, contented, etc., you still cannot decide, all right, and you lose out on the most suitable house. After most educated or most advised, so to speak, the buyers guided by us, usually after 10 houses or so, they can make a decision, all right? Unfortunately, a lot of unguided buyers, after 20, 30 houses, they are still looking around. And then when they go back to the first 1, 2, 3 houses they saw, the house are already taken, okay? Likewise, sellers are taking too long a time to sell. Why? Okay, these are the main problems. And there are 2-step solution. Like I said, this could be a 2 hours discussion, but we just want to summarize everything into 2 steps. Okay, very simple. First, please make sure that you have the right market knowledge as much as you can. Like I said, we have been in the market for 10 years. We can never, even to today, say that we know the market very well. All right, or we can't know the market, perfectly, so to speak. How can then we expect consumers? You have full-time jobs. You are entering the market for the first time after many years to know that. But yet, that is very important. Okay. The challenges for you to understand to have very good market knowledge is always incomplete. We split this into 2 parts, right? Is that you may not have complete past transactions info or information, and then at the same time, there are too many current listings to search for, to compare. Now, these 2 challenges and the solution actually applies to both buyers and sellers. Okay, if you don't understand this part, I can elaborate further. But now, regardless of whatever position you are, please put yourself in these shoes. Is it true that now you're buying, let's say a semi-D, for example, District 14? How are the past transactions useful to you? And are there too many current listings for you to look for? All right, let's take a very simple example. Now, I'm going to use a case study of imagine you're buying or selling Terrace, right? That's up to $5 million in District 15. As Justin said, this is one of the most popular districts, right, in the East. So as a consumer now, if you go to, say, URA data, this is probably what the most consumers will use as a resource because it's the most trusted, all right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is probably what a lot of buyers will go through. They have shared with us, all right? And then they say, really, okay, this is what I can see. I can see transacted price, area, PSF, all right? I see $4 million. Okay, for example, I'm just going to highlight this, right? At Detached Avenue. This has been sold in August. Beyond that, what can you do? What do you find out beyond this, all right? Do you know how many stories does it have? Do you know how new it is? Do you know how many rooms are there, all right? Do you even know how it looks like? All right? Do you even know how it looks like? Right, big question, right? After a lot of consumers are there being used to our analysis and data, they find this completely useless. All right, what do you do then? First step, you can go to any Huttons agent. All right, one solution is go to Huttons agent. We have this company app. that allows you, besides just Joo Chiat Avenue, you can find out the unit number. All right, the unit number. Pardon me, I think this was highlighted. Wrong one, should be the one above, right? 66 Joo Chiat Avenue. From there, you can maybe go to Google Map, for example, and find out how it looks like, right? But beyond that, are there other questions that might be relevant to you? Okay, this is where I think we would like to offer you this solution, and something that we'll be working on tirelessly, right, for the past 5 to 10 years, is to provide something like this. I think just now we've already seen quite a lot of examples from the various district ICs. But now, one look, okay, one look. First, you have the visual. You have the address that's really stated from the Huttons app, right? Beyond that, we are not just going to give you the terrace, land size, and the price. We're going to tell you the built-up area, right? We're going to tell you the number of rooms. We're going to tell you whether there are lifts, pool. Of course, I'm using a simple example here. This is a 2-story terrace. But as a house gets bigger, imagine it's a semi or a detached house. Is there a lift inside? You wouldn't know. All right. What's the built-up area, which is increasingly becoming very important because built-up area equals to construction costs, for instance. All this affects the value of a house. Okay. Importantly, in HLD, for example, the way we've always looked at landed properties, we've highlighted 20 key qualities that affect the value and the price, of which what you can see here, these are only about 14, all right, 14 qualities. So all this plus other things, what can you think of? Is there a granny's room? Is there a basement? Okay, what's the land shape, for instance? Okay, the facing besides the direction, what is opposite? Is it facing a park, facing a bus stop, or a school? All this information are important based on the more than 300 transactions that were conducted over the past many years. All right, we've actually grouped all these qualities together and then put it inside our website. All right, so here is only 14, which we think are the simplest to understand. What are the other 6? You can go to any of your HLD lender consultant or the leaders here, right, to find out more. With this, does it give you a better idea now? Whether you're a buyer or seller, if you are selling a 4 million house, I say 5 million, sorry, $4 million house, all right, 2-story terrace. Now, this is a very, very good example that you can have. Okay, so things like that, that's just one. Now I'm going to show you the example. Imagine if it's just you're looking beyond that, you will be surprised to know these are all District 15 terraces. And we start to look at real numbers. These are real numbers between 1,008 to 3,007, almost $3,800 per square feet. If you were just to rely on the URA data, how are you going to determine, or in terms of number, how does the house look like, etc.? For example, you can see this is a 1-story original terrace. Then you have a 2-story one that is original condition. This is 2.5-story that is renovated all the way to a brand new one. And historical data has shown the numbers can almost double, right? Can almost double from 1,008 to 3,007. Can you imagine the other key value and price quality? We call this the value and price qualities, right? Things such as stories, condition, facing, parking lots, etc. All this affects, right? All this affects. And the best way for us, especially for the 100 of us now, is to rely on this database to be able to give advice to our lender clients and buyers or sellers, right? To be able to ascertain what is the fair market value, right, to the market. Now, besides looking at past transactions, another important criteria, because that's the past, what you want to look for is competitively. Now, in the market, are you priced competitively? All right, this is, of course, a bit more into the future. Based on the same, just now we saw a 2-story terrace. What are your competitors asking for now? Again, if you're buyers, especially, I think just now there were 40 or 60% of you. How do you search for current listings? Is it through portals like this, right, for consumers? These are all under $5 million, if not under $4 million. You just go to portals like Property Guru. There's 118. This is taken just this morning, right? 118 choices for you to look at. You go to 99.co, there's 101 sale listings. Are you going through one by one? Right? And do they give you the address? Do they even give you the facade? Do they tell you what it is? Which group name? Can you find it frustrating, which is one of the most common frustration, all right, or feedback that a lot of consumers, when they come to us and say, really, Justin, Will, I try searching, but it's just going through online. It's just very frustrating. I don't have the time to call this 118 agents to find out where are all these houses. Because even as direct consumers, the agents are very guarded and are not comfortable to share with you a lot of information. All right. In Huttons, okay, you've come to any Huttons agent, it gets a bit better, all right, because it happens. So this is basically just one screenshot from our apps taken just from our phone. We can consolidate all the listings that's available, all right, from publicly available domains. So at least it summarizes for you all the information there. You can also see there's about 117 listings that's available now, all right? Can this be better? All right, can this be better? If you've seen from our sold listings, obviously. All right, imagine now, again, I want to think that if you're a buyer or if you're a seller, you want to compare who are your competitors. Is this good enough? Right? What if I were to give you things like this? Right, information, can you see now? Same thing, 4 million to 5 million terraces or corner terraces. Now with one look, these are all the information that you get, starting from the unit number. I use a Fidelio Street as an example. All right, we give you the facade, there's nothing to hide. The terrace we describe as well, right? Single story, number of stories, the 14 qualities that was explained to you will be given to you. Plus, of course, our contact information, this is quite standard. But just one look, you already know. Okay, just one look, even if I just give you the facade, you should be able to discern what should determine, I think, or what would cause the differentiation in terms of the price. All right. Of course, there are other factors, such as the 6 that we mentioned, right? Such as, for example, there are things, can you see here? This is, let me see. A lot of our listings also have what we call this a QR code for the 3D scan. All right, we now have, I think, the largest, we are very sure we have the largest database of 3D scans of landed properties in Singapore, more than 400 plus of them. So a lot of them are already in our database. So even if you're on a search, on a lookup, you want to see, oh, how does this look? There's no way you can, for example, look at houses that have been sold, but we do have records of them, right? Of past houses and also of houses that we are selling as well. So without you going down, this saves you a lot of time, effort, but more importantly, give you a very good understanding, right, in terms of the interior condition, the layout, configuration, and all the other 14 factors that was mentioned. Okay, can you now imagine this information, how much more useful it will be, right? So this, just to summarize, that's very important in terms of market understanding and knowledge. Before we take this step towards making the largest purchase or financial purchase or sale decision in our life, I think it's important for us to be extra. We cannot be more careful than what we should be, right? So give you a snippet. Again, we have limited time. These are some of the other things that our website, a database have. For example, the direction, right? It's impossible now for you to go to a property guru and find out. If you particularly, for example, you just want north-facing, northwest-facing, there's nowhere in Singapore's landscape now that allows you to choose, okay? We have shared a lot just now about the different zonings, and you have seen evidently that all these different zones, even within, for example, District 15, the prices differ between the 4 different zones. Same, likewise, for the other districts as well, all right? So this allows you to have an understanding, and you can just zone out. For example, you just want Katong, for example. You don't want to go beyond Tanjong Katong Road. Why bother going through the 100 plus listings and waste 75% of the time, right? We mentioned earlier, there are things like Greenwich Room, which is increasingly becoming important, especially in the aging population. You're going to stay with the 3rd generation, your parents, grandparents, etc. Whether there's swimming pool or not, whether there's lift, number of parking lots increasingly becoming important, all right? So a lot of people now have a second EV, you have a family car, or you like to stay in quiet places, which requires, there's no access to public transport, all right? And of course, number of stories. As you've seen, whether it's a 1.5 stories or 2.5 stories, 3.5 stories, all this make a lot of difference in terms of the build-up area and therefore the perceived and market value, all right? The answer to all this, very straightforward, is actually our HLD website. This is where we would like you, if you have not tried before, scan here. You can just click singaporelanded.com.sg. We bought this domain as early as 10 years ago. Go in, you can find out quite a lot of information that other potential websites don't have. The reason why I'm sharing with this, one good news is an upgraded version, okay, and access from the public, all right? Because right now, whatever you see are only accessible by the 100 consultants in HLD now. So you have to go to them, and you can also go to a Huttons agent who invited you, because the Huttons agent can work with us, right? But in future, we're going to give the public, right, more and more access to some of this information, coming as early as Q1 2025. To find out more about this, please go to the lender consultant who has invited you, and then we'll keep you updated on how you can be part of this very exciting technological improvement that will help you a lot, whether you're buying or selling. All right. That's just part one. What is part two? Step two. Again, this is the part where it takes 2 hours or more, right? I'm not going to go too much in it, but the key thing is after you have the information, you still need to engage the most qualified landed consultant. We've come across too many cases where the sellers approach us, buyers approach us, because the first choice of consultant, it could be their friend, their relative, etc. They go to them because they know them, even though they are very experienced agents in their very own field, whether HDB, condos, etc. They find that when it comes to landed, frankly, it's really a deep sea where a lot of these consultants or these agents may not have, and we don't blame them, right? You can imagine the amount of effort that my team and I has put in. So if they don't have this complete information or this information, experience, or just even groundwork, there's no way. We can't blame them for not understanding the difference between a $2,400 PSF, a Terrace versus something that's $3,500, or something between $2,000 and $2,400, for example. Okay, so I think this is very important. Find the most qualified. It could maybe us, maybe some other lender consultants in other agencies. Will come across quite a number of them. All right, a lot of them have been in the market for quite some time. So just make sure you engage the most qualified one. What is our solution for you to this? Pardon me. Okay, this one picture. I hope you know at least one of us here. The many consultants from us, we have and we will continue, I think, to serve our buyers and sellers, right? Those who have access to information, I think that a lot of buyers and sellers are looking for. And to understand also how can we market, for example, if you're a seller, again, without giving you too much clues, you can just go to these 5 QR codes. It will give you a snippet on the amount of things or the extraordinary things that we put in order to market a house in the fastest possible way. All right. All right. If not, we come to the end almost of today's session. We realized actually for the last almost 2 hours, there's been no question. Maybe this is a chance for anyone to ask any question. Let me see. There's a chat. Still no question. Okay. Okay. Well, one that just texted me just now, not via here, was asking, Willie, can you therefore conclude, right? What is Q4? What's the outlook for Q4? I think that's a very good question. But before I answer, I want to qualify first. I think, like we said, there is no blanket statement, all right, that will affect all houses, all districts, or areas equally. I need to emphasize that again, because I tell you, after 10 years in the market, all my leaders and I, when the clients ask us, hey, what's the value of my house? Is it going to go up or go down? Do you know what's our standard answer? Right? We say it depends. And our depends is not a very convenient excuse, right, to hide away from giving what is an accurate portrayal or what we think is a very confident assessment of what's going to come. But it really depends on just so many factors of your house. So when a client asks just now this text that comes, I would like to ask you first, are you talking about general market, right? General market, if you ask me, very straightforward, right? Things are still going pretty strong. Like we said at the beginning of the year, it's going to be very stable. The growth is going to be stable. You're not going to see any upheaval, sudden 10% increase in growth, for example. Neither is the volume going to drop a lot, all right? The value growth, all this will be very healthy but more stable compared to the last 3 to 4 years where we experienced more than 10% growth. However, the exact answer to what type of house you're looking at. Are you looking at a semi-D District 20? Are you looking at a terrace in the District 10, for instance? All this will depend. And of course, the detailed answers you have been given a glimpse earlier. In fact, that was literally just a glimpse. All the slides that my ICs have presented, I think it's a fraction. All right, each district, I think we have 30, 40 slides. Every quarterly analysis, there's almost 300 pages of information. So it depends. So with more information that you can share with us, then we can really dive down, sit down with you, analyze, look at the past, the present, your competitors, etc. before we can then ascertain. I think the word key here is together. All right, what you think is then the perceived market fair value of the price of your house and how it will go forward in the next 3 months or so. Okay, so I hope that answers this question. I think it's one of the clients who just texted me. Okay, if you have other questions, feel free to go to your lender consultant, whether from Huttons or from HLD or any of the leaders here, and we're more than happy to share with you. All right. Now, this will be the last slide. Please do us a favor. I know it's been quite long. Could you share with us whether you find the last 2+ hours useful. Pardon me, I'm pausing because I'm trying to launch this poll. Give me a minute. Being shared. Can you all see this now? Okay, hold up. Maybe let me just launch this one more time. Okay, thank you so much. We're going to send this. Please give us your most honest feedback, whether you find this useful from a scale of 1 to 10. We don't blame you if you find the numbers confusing. Trust me, can I just also declare here and confess sometimes when I see the numbers from my teammates, right, my fellow leaders, it's like, oh, why is this so, etc. And I really have to go to them for the detailed breakdown before to make sense of any numbers or to understand them more fully. All right. Okay, just a couple more seconds. Okay, thank you so much. Would you like to see the results for this? Encouraging results should be shown. Yeah, I think. Let us see the results now. All right, thank you for those who I think more than 50% find this 10 out of 10. Thank you. And for your encouragement, most find it at least 7 and above. All right, so thank you very much. If there's no further question, we have come to the end of this webinar, and until the next webinar 3 months later in January, please take care. Enjoy the festive season that's coming. I know it's coming to the end of the year, 3 more months to go, and we remain contactable and engaged and short of better word, devoted to you should you need my teammates and my service anytime. All right, thank you. Good night. My name is Willie on behalf of Huttons Landed Division. Thank you.